Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton and welcome to my YouTube channel. You know, we've all asked this question at times, all of us. Why do people suffer? My cat's just coming across the screen there. We've all known someone or a group of people who have suffered extraordinary setbacks and sadness in their life, tragedies. And we often say, well, why does God allow this? And why does he allow sufferings and tragedies? And, why do good people experience all these bad things? Why does that happen? And the cat's just gone now. I can let go of the camera. So we struggle to understand this concept of suffering, and we want to understand this concept to a point. But we must understand that there are things we are not meant to understand. If we try too hard to understand things, we often lose other concepts of character that are most important during and around people who are suffering. So let's go a little bit further on here now. We all struggle to understand this concept. There's no doubt about that. But also, we need to develop a linkage also and think of everyone around us. And I always believe, and I'm sure others do too, that behind every smile or peal of laughter, there's an individual who has likely suffered some degree of sadness or loss, tragedy, heartbreak, etc. There's many types of suffering, and they're all unique and different to each individual who experiences it. So, we look at people and we think, oh, gee, aren't they a happy soul? They're always laughing, always cheerful, always happy. But sometimes we don't know either what that person has been through to reach that point that presents themselves to us. So just because someone smiles a lot and laughs a lot and is happy and jovial doesn't mean to say they've had an equal life journey, that sometimes those very people are the ones who have suffered so much in life, and yet they're still happy to be alive. They draw strength. So, are we meant to understand the concept of suffering? More to the point, should we not be more concentrated on compassion, comfort, loving support, etc. for those suffering individuals? So rather than think, why is that happening to him or her, let me think about what I can do for that person. How do I aim my compassion or assistance, or what could I do to help this person? How can I make this person know that I care very much for them and care that they are suffering? I'm concerned for them. Our compassion does have great value. Don't forget that. The why of the suffering should not be our domain. It should be, how am I helping that person? And in the case of ourselves who may be experiencing the suffering or the tragedy, the heartbreak, whatever it is, it comes in all forms, suffering. We need to comprehend that there is a reason why suffering happens to good people. And the reason is not made apparent to us always, or it certainly isn't made apparent to us at the time. And also, nor should we try to figure it all out. Some people spend a great deal of time saying, why is this happening to me? Why did this happen to that person? Or varying things. You know, what's behind all this? Why did that have to happen? So let's not concentrate all our efforts into that. The whys of pain and suffering and tragedy and the understanding of such is not really our intellectual domain. That is not our purpose. That is not, God did not make that a domain of ours to understand why suffering and tragedies happen. Our human intellectual domain, we always want to understand and segment things and hypothesize and rationalize and you name it. Human nature makes us want to always encapsulate something, label it, categorize it, file it, you know. We're very good at that sort of thing. But on the subject of suffering, we're not meant to be doing that. So that's not for us to do. Because while we are doing this, you know, compartmentalizing, you know, categorizing, etc., we're forgetting to be compassionate and supportive to those who are suffering and going through this difficulty. So it's not our domain to work out why they're suffering. It's our domain to think, how can I support this individual? What can I contribute to their well-being or their journey or comfort at this point in time? And as individuals, you know, human beings, we don't need to always know everything. And yet we have this innate ability to always want to stick our nose into things that aren't necessarily our affairs. We want to know. Now, when people suffer difficulties or misfortune, all sorts of things, you know, we always want to know why. Why did that happen to them? Well, we should be saying, instead of that, how can I help this person? What can I do for them that might relieve their suffering a little bit at this time? It might be cooking them a meal. It doesn't need to be any Einstein sort of invention. Just being a humane, compassionate, caring individual. That's what's required. So we don't always need to know everything. Because that person's laughter and happiness, etc., there's bound to be a heartbreaking story or experience somewhere behind that. Don't ever assume because someone's laughing all the time everything's okay. It might be now, but once upon a time it probably wasn't. When we suffer or go through unpleasant, heartbreaking experiences, we gain something, an essence, a place of serenity, so to speak, deep within us. And that allows us to regroup, to categorize or to rethink, to replan. It gives us time to do that. So that essence, that place of serenity that's deep within us is real. It does resonate with us. We do recognize it. And with time and the natural process of healing, we learn to smile and to laugh again. We actually receive a revelation of wisdom in a way. We need to just sort of sit there and by osmosis receive some of the gifts, so to speak, of this. So we gain something, that essence, that serenity, that spot where we can regroup and recalibrate ourselves. those of you who've gone through these things, some go through things at different degrees, but you'll know what I'm trying to explain here. Time has to be a big essence as well. So when we begin to regroup after going through this traumatic experience or this sadness or tragedy, whatever this bad thing is that has happened to us, then we could learn to smile and laugh again. We then receive sort of revelation and wisdom. You know, they say hindsight's a wonderful thing. We learn to become so much more closer to God. And this is something that takes time to grasp, because you enter into a whole different level of intimacy with Hashem. It's like you go through this trauma or this sadness or tragedy, and you eventually do come through it. At the other end, there's a whole new, and our English words aren't descriptive enough, but it's like a whole new revelation and understanding of God. We've heard all these expressions, what God is, how God operates. But somehow or other, after you've come out the other side of that sadness or unhappiness, tragedy, whatever it is, you do have this somehow God is close. You feel God's closer to you, but you're actually closer to God. You've got this more intimate view and relationship with Him. And we go on then, and we further develop after this. We develop our own simple trust in Hashem. We now start to understand trust in God. All is good. All of this is for my benefit. We now start to understand all these words we've heard spoken before. I can be grateful during my suffering. If I have to go through that experience again, I will know that I must concentrate more on, I need to be grateful for this learning experience rather than saying, poor me, why me? So be grateful during your suffering. Because at the end of this, I guess the key note here is that my suffering has purpose. My suffering has purpose. And although that purpose is not always relevant or revealed to you by Hashem or understood by you or grasped by you, understand that my suffering has purpose. And once you grasp that, once you actually absorb that short statement and think about it, it's almost like you feel a veil parting. You feel your mind's clearer to understand and accept things, unpleasant as they may well be for some individuals, very unpleasant and sad. But my suffering has purpose. Therefore, I know I'm loved. God is with me. I am learning from this. I may not understand what I'm to learn yet, but I must just accept this suffering and accept that it has a purpose for me. Thank you all so very much for listening. Thank you all those people who have subscribed. I appreciate it. Always enjoy reading your comments and respond if I can. In the meantime, please understand that there is a divine reason why you will experience suffering and heartbreak. It has purpose for you as an individual. Face it, embrace it, come closer to Hashem. Please take care and God bless.